All right, what is going on? It is Nate, and we got another video today. So today's a little different. I came up with the concept when I was on a one-on-one call, and I was kind of just writing it out, and then I was like, oh, wait, that kind of makes sense. Like, I kind of like that. Sorry, my hair's all crazy. I was like, I kind of like that. Like, I don't. I'm gonna get into it and show you guys what I mean, but I'm calling it the triangle of transmutation. I don't know what I don't know. That just came to my mind. Right, the triangle of transmutation. So what this is this is the process of which you decide on what you want, you transmute that idea to God, and then God then transmutes it to the physical world, right? So that's like the idea behind it. And so it's like a big triangle. And so I'm going to cover how that is, how that works, what the process is. Now, is this a real like name? Is the triangle of transmutation actually a thing? I have no idea. I just came up with this, and it's a good idea or a good way for me to remind myself the way things work and the way you have to live your life if you're actually trying to grow and create something new. So let me get my pen out here so I can start writing on the board. So the triangle of transmutation, right? So it's this idea that we are here, right? So this is your present moment, right? So this is your current results, your current reality. It's who you are right now, right? So this version of you is right here, okay? And then God is up here, and then your future results are over here. Okay, and so here's where 99.9% of people mess up is they try to go from their present results straight to the future results, right? They try to pretend like they know how. They try to pretend like, oh, I know how to get there. Like, oh, okay, I want to make 10K this month. And they try to just use their own mind to figure out how to get there. But the truth is you're not going to figure it out, right? You don't know how until you've done it, right? So this is what, like, my thesis behind all this is you have to stop working here in the physical world if you're trying to make changes, right? Because everything happens first spiritually before it happens physically. So if you're trying to change things and you're working only in the physical world, it's going to take you forever because this world moves so slow, right? If you close your eyes right now and you're like, okay, think about your dream car or your dream house or your dream watch or whatever, right? Just close your eyes and see it. See the car, right? Whatever it is, truck, car, sports car, whatever. And right now, you could change the color of it instantaneously. I can say it's purple, now it's green, now it's yellow, now it's red, now it's orange, right? You can see it change in colors instantly. That is how instantaneous the spiritual world is. And then now try to go change the color of your car physically. First off, you got to go down, you got to go buy the car, right? You got to go sign the paperwork, you got to find the money. Then you got to take the car over to the paint shop. They got to do all these things. To change the color of your car is like a month or even longer of a process, right? But in your mind, you could do it instantly. You could change your color instantly. Whatever car you have right now, you could change the color in your mind. I can see my truck right now. It's orange. Now it's yellow. Now it's red, right? You can see it instantly. And so that's what people do is they focus, they work here in the physical world, and that's all they focus on. Okay, how can I do this? 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 But that's not the way to do it, right? So this is like what I was telling my client today was you have to know where you are right now, right? On your present results right now. And you need to make a decision. You need to decide on exactly what you want. Right? So you're here, right? You're in your current reality, right? So you have the results you have right now. But now you're making a decision, okay, this is what I want. Right? So maybe your present results right now are like 10K a month, and you're like, I want to get to, you want to get to 100K a month. So if you sit here and you try to figure out how to get from 10K to 100K, you're probably going to be way off, and it's probably going to take forever. The way that you are going to get this 100K a month, excuse me, or whatever it is you're going after, is you have to take this desire to God, right? So you're going to take it to God. Your job is to decide, make a decision, right? The Bible says everywhere, asking you shall receive, right? There's a million different ways the Bible says that you just need to ask for it, and then you will get it. If you believe that you will get it, right? You have to have faith. You have to believe it's yours. Act like it's yours. Live as it's yours, right? Live in that new home. So you need to make a decision, right? So now let's change this, right? So now you have your decision, right? So let's say your decision is you want to make $100,000 a month, right? That is your decision that you're making right now. So what most people do is they would then look around them. Okay, how can I get to 100K a month? What business can I start, right? And they start thinking from the same level they're on. And so if you're thinking on the same level you've been thinking on, you're going to keep getting the same results you get. You might start a new business, but you're going to make the same amount of money. You have to go to a higher level, and then you give this idea to God. You say, God, this is what I want. I believe it's mine. I believe it's coming. I believe you are going to give it to me. I believe you are going to show me the way. That is what you have to do, right? So you take this decision. Excuse me, I don't know what's in my throat. So you make this decision. And you take it to God. And you say, God, this is what I want, right? And so how do you communicate this idea to God? This arrow, let this arrow right here represent thoughts, feelings, images, right? So this is going to be through the things that you think about, right? So this isn't what you do. Like you go in your room, you shut the door, you go and you pray for it, right? And you're like, God, please, please, please. That's not what you do. You have to become this person, right? Ask and you shall receive. Believe that you have received, then you will receive it, right? There's so many different ways it's said, but the most important thing is you have to believe it, that it's coming. So if you go into prayer or you go into meditation or whatever it is, and you go into that and you're like, God, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And then you go and you live your life and you forget about it and you don't think about it, you don't really want it. So you have to make this decision and you have to communicate this image to God, right? Communicate what you want. Think of it like if you were trying to tell me, sorry, my hair is crazy. Think of if you were trying to tell me that what you wanted, right? If I told you, hey, come tell me exactly what you want, I'll give it to you. Would you just say you want more money? Would you just say that you want to get better or you want to grow? If I said you can have anything you want, but you have to tell me because I will give you exactly what you asked for, would you be vague? Would you just kind of be like, yeah, I don't know, like, or would you say, you know what, I want $100,000 a month, I want a red Ferrari, I want to live here, I want to travel here, I want to do this, I want to hop on a plane and go there, I want to buy the private jet, I want to own the whole entire airport, right? You would probably be like, I'm just going to ask exactly, and you would know you're going to get it, you're going to get it, you're going to get it. What if I told you that's how this works? But the problem is people are too afraid to ask for what they really want. They think there's a limitation to supply. They think that God is limited. They think that there's only so much to go around. That is so far from the truth. The truth is there's infinite supply because when we need more, God gives us more. There's infinite supply. So you need to communicate this decision to God, right? So forget the physical world of how are you going to do it. Forget the okay, how can I start doing this? How can I try to do this? Forget all of that. Just say, this is what I want. Okay, now I'm going to give this idea to God. Let go of the how and just say, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to show God. God's going to show me how. Right? This is what I want. I'm going to tell God. God's going to show me how. Not, this is what I want. I don't know how to do it. Right? That's the mistake there. So you go to God and you show him, right? Through your thoughts, your feelings, your images, right? Whatever you imagine, whatever you think about, whatever you feel, and whatever you're acting upon, right? So if you say, oh, I want a red Ferrari, but say you have a car and you treat it like crap and you beat it up and you wreck it all the time, you hit the curbs all the time, do you think your actions match what you're asking for, right? So you have to make sure that everything aligns. But what I'm saying is you need to take your desires to God and God will show you how to get them. God will bring you the opportunities, the people, the places, the things for you to get that desire physically. But he can't do that until he knows exactly what you want, because you're going to get exactly what you want. And so if you don't know what you want, what do you think he's going to give you? Whatever you're giving to him. So what are you giving to him? You're probably just giving to him whatever's just passing through on your mind. Whatever you're looking around and whatever you see and how you react to that is what you're giving to God. And God's giving you more of that. And you live a life of more of the same, more of the same, more of the same, right? And that's why you're stuck forever. Most people are stuck for their whole lives because of this exact reason. So, like I said, pretend like you're coming to me and you're saying, and I told you, hey, I'll give you every single thing that you want if you believe that I'll actually give it to you, right? Pretend like I'm saying that. Now understand that the creator of all creations is telling you that. The God that created you, the God that created everything that you see in this entire earth is telling you, ask and you shall receive. That's what he's telling you. And you are afraid to ask. That's your problem. So decide on what you want. And it's what you want. Not what you think you can get, not what you can figure out right now. What you actually want, right? So you make a decision. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And so now you give this idea to God. How do you give it to God? meditations, visualizations, prayers. Every day throughout your day, you should constantly be thinking about what it is that you're going after. What is it? What is it? What is it? You should be doing these visualizations where you are giving God these images of exactly what you want. You should be feeling that as real. You should be walking around throughout the day as that person, right? So you have to become that person physically, and then the physical results will come. You have to be that person now, right? So the biggest illusion we have is oh, well, once this happens, I'll feel better. Once I get the money, then I'll feel better. The truth is the money's never going to come because you don't feel better. You have to be that person right now. You have to be a millionaire now. You have to make $100K a month now, regardless of what the physical results show you, or else the results will never come because that's not who you are. And you get what you are, not what you want. So if you are constantly pushing things out in front of you and you're like, okay, well, this is, once I make $100K a month, then I'll be happy. Or once I have this much money, then, maybe I'll take the risk. The truth is you're never going to be there. You're never going to be able to take that risk. You're never going to get in that position because you never made the decision to do it. Because you always said, oh, once this happens, it's all an illusion. So you decide right now exactly what you want. It doesn't matter if it's realistic, doesn't matter if it's logical. Actually, it shouldn't be realistic and it shouldn't be logical. And you decide exactly on that, right? Like for me, that sounds so wrong to say. I earn $100,000 a month, right? That is my desire. I have a McLaren 600 LT. I have a Rolls Royce Cullinan, right? I have this clear mental image of the entire life I want to live. I have thousands of members working with me one-on-one, and I'm teaching them how to access the inner power within themselves, right? You have the power within you. It's not outside of you. People seek a million different businesses trying to find some special opportunity. No, it's within you. That's my goal. I want to help people uncover that. Right? So I know exactly I have a spitting image of the exact life I want to live. And I think about it all the time. Right? What do you think gets me up in the morning when I don't want to get up? What do you think makes me want to keep going when it seems like nothing's working? That image, right? So you have this image that you are passing on to God through your prayers, through your meditations, through your visualizations, through your feelings, through your thoughts, through your imagination, right? You're creating this clear image, and every time you have to understand that, like, God, He's not speaking English or Spanish or French. God speaks universally, right? So everyone communicates to God. God is everywhere. God is everything. God, so you understand this, right? So how do you think God communicates to us? How do you think God responds to us based on the way we feel, right? Because our thoughts and our feelings send out these waves of I guess you would call it energy. They're sending out these waves of energy, and then God is responding. And like energy attracts like energy, right? You've heard law of attraction. That's what that is. So if you feel poor, if you feel broke, if you feel like, once I'm a millionaire, then I'll be happy, right? So you're putting yourself down on this little level, saying, once I'm up there, I'll be happy. So what are you sending out to this universe? You're sending out not there, right? You're sending out this attitude of, I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm not there. So what's coming back to you? You're not there. You're not there. You're not there, right? So you understand, if like energy attracts like energy, then you need to be who you want to be now, and you will attract that into your life. Right? So you need to decide on what you want, give that image to God, show it to God, talk to God every single day, show God, and have absolute faith that He's bringing that to you, right? So when you communicate this image, right? So now God knows exactly what you want because you know what you want, and you are constantly thinking about it. So God is receiving these signals from you. God is going to reveal the how. God is going to give you the opportunities, the people, the places, the money, the friends, the clients, the whatever it is you need to get what it is that you want, right? They call it the bridge of incidences. So you understand that right here, when you make this decision, you don't know how. That's why this is so powerful, because it forces you, and I don't like to use that word in this context, but that's the truth. It forces you to go to God for the answers. You can't look around you for the answer. If you're making under 10K a month and you want to go to 100K a month, you can't look around you for the answer. The answers are not there. Well, they are there, but you can't see them. God has to reveal them to you, right? You have to raise your awareness. So you have to decide on exactly what you want. Have a clear image. What car do you want? What color is it going to be? What trim model is it going to be? How much are you going to make? Where's the money going to come from? Are you going to make money from your phone, from your computer? Are you going to travel the world? Where are you going to travel? What airline are you going to travel through? Like, you can get so exact. Like, if you want to make 100K a month, you should be completely prepared. When that 100K hits, you should know exactly where all of it's going. You should be like, all right, I'm sending 10K here. I'm putting 60K in my investments. I'm going to pay, 3K for rent, this for my truck, right? So you have all of these ideas. That's what allows you to become that person, because you're pretending to be that person. And guess what? When you pretend, when you use your imagination and you're sending out these signals of, with this 100K, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I'm a millionaire. I have, I already have the McLaren. I have this, I drive this, I live here, I travel here, I buy the dinners, I buy all the dinners for everyone I know, right? I take everyone out to dinner and I pay for everything, right? When you are that person, you're sending that out. So what do you think is going to come back, right? But that can't come back to you if you don't become that. And you can't become that. You can't have all this. None of this can happen without God. So you understand, like, I call this the triangle of transmutation because I don't even know why I came up with that, but basically you're thinking of these ideas and you're using this triangle, right? Going to God, and then God's giving you the how, and then the how is giving you the results. You're using this triangle to transmute your ideas into the physical counterpart, right? It's a big triangle of transmutation. Because then your future results become your present results, and then you make a new decision, right? So all of a sudden your future results, so now you have the 100K, right? You have the 100K. Well, now you're back here. So now you decide, okay, what do I want? Right? So it's a triangle, literally a triangle of transmutation. The triangle that allows you to transmute your ideas into money. So what people do, and what a lot of people fall into, and I'm speaking from experience here, is they'll start this and they'll be like, okay, I don't know how, and they'll lean on God, and God will show them the way, and then they'll start taking the steps, and then they'll lose sight of God. And then, trust me, you hit a brick wall. You hit a brick wall. If you are on the spiritual journey, if you are using the spiritual laws of this world to create the wealth that you want, you cannot fall away from the spiritual world. The second you fall away from it, you're stuck. You're not going anywhere. Trust me. So you have to stay consistent of this. And so I'm going to cover here in a second, what all this looks like. So, right, so we're making the decision. You make a decision on exactly what you want, understanding that you have no idea how to do it, right? So now your job is to transmute this idea to God. So how do you do that? You do that through your thoughts, through your feelings, through your actions, through your habits, right? And so what are all of these things? You've probably heard me say it a million times in other videos. Those are your frequency. Your frequency are your thoughts, feelings, actions, and habits. And that is what God is basically, think of it like he's assessing you, right? So he's like, all right, well, he may say he wants to make 100K, but he feels poor. Guess what? Feelings rules all. Because if you don't feel it, you'll never have it. So really, feelings are the huge thing. But you're not going to have the feeling if you don't think the thoughts. The thoughts create the image creates the feeling creates the emotion, and the emotion causes the action. Right? All right, sound not to get crazy, but okay, so anyways, so that's your frequency, right? So that's why it's so important when people say raise your frequency, raise your vibration. Because if you're in a negative frequency, what are you going to attract? Like energy, right? Negative energy, negative situations, negative circumstances, negative people, right? It's just negative. So you have to raise to this higher level. You have to raise your frequency, right? Raise your frequency. And while you're raising your frequency, what you're doing is you're communicating these ideas to God. And so then God is going to receive these, right? And so this happens, right? So the best way that you're really going to get these images to God is through visualizations, right? And like the visualization meditation. I call them meditations. They're not meditations at all. They're not relaxing. But basically, you're going into your imagination, closing your eyes, and you're living your dream life. You're living that life. You're feeling the feelings. You're talking to the people. You're hearing the sounds. You're living there for a period of time. You do that multiple times a day. All of a sudden, that seems to be real, right? Because your mind doesn't know what's real versus what's imagined. So, anyways, that's the best way to do that, right? If you don't do the meditations and the visualizations, it's going to be really, really difficult to stay on that frequency because the real world, like the physical world, is going to take over. You're going to be like, I want to make 100K a month. You're going to look around you and be like, I don't make 100K a month. And then you're going to fall into a trap. So now what happens is God's going to get, you're going to get your idea to God, right? And so that's through your visualization and meditations. And the most important thing is repetition. So you're not going to get these ideas to God if you only do it one time, right? So if you go sit on the couch and you visualize the dream life, and then tomorrow you visualize a different dream life, and then the next day a different one, and then the next day a different one, and you never visualize the same thing, you're never going to get anything because you don't even know what you want, right? Because what you want shouldn't change every day. Yeah, maybe over time you'll change. Like for me, I always thought I wanted a Lambo, but I really, really want a McLaren 600 LT. But everyone says McLarens are troublesome, and I was doing one of my visualizations. I was living that life. And something like just told me, I was like, Nate, you really want the McLaren. And I turned around and the McLaren was right there. And so since then I was like, okay, yeah, the McLaren is what I really want. But I was rejecting that because of what people have said about McLarens, right? Which all sounds so silly because it's like none of this is even real, but it's true, right? So now all of every time I'm thinking about my future life, I'm seeing the McLaren instead of the Lambo, right? So you're going to tweak things over time, but every day you don't want to be changing. So now God is going to give you the how, right? Which is the bridge of incidences. So this is where things get weird, right? This is where you're going to be having people reach out to you that you don't even know why they're reaching out to you. You're going to have to go do things that you don't know why you're doing it. You're going to have the urge to text people, to call people, to make a video. You're going to have these random urges, these random situations come to you. That's how you know it's working. Because if you're doing the same stuff you've been doing, it's not working because nothing's changing, right? Like the sad part of this, and what a lot of people get wrong, is they think, oh, I'm going to visualize winning the lottery and I'm going to win the lottery. Okay, cool. Good luck with that, right? That's not what I'm here to teach. I'm here to tell you that you are going to have to do something in return for the money. If you want $100,000, you're going to have to render some sort of service or provide some sort of value of over $100,000 so you are running a successful business and you can maintain this lifestyle, right? People aren't going to just give you money for fun. So you've decided on what you wanted and you've given this idea to God. Now God is revealing to you the bridge of incidences, which is a random series of events that you cannot figure out why it's all going to work out or how it's all going to work out, but you do it, right? You trust. This is the how. And why do you think I said don't worry about the how when you make the decision? Because the how is never how you think it's going to be. So when you go through this world, through the spiritual world, you go through God, what's happening is he's giving you the easiest way possible to get what it is that you desire. Right? So you're deciding what you want, you're telling God, and God is providing you with the easiest path possible for you to get what it is that you want. That's why it's so weird, because it's not what you think. Because you're probably not going to get the money from where you think you're going to get the money from. You're not going to get the clients from where you think you're going to get the clients from. It's all going to be different than you expect. That's why you allow God to do it, not you. Because if you try to figure it out, you would have never guessed this path. You would have never guessed the path that God gave you. So don't try. Let him do it. So then he's going to show you the how, and you just have to take the actions. And like I was telling my client, it is so effortless. It is actions that you won't even think twice about, and then you'll be like, oh, wow, that worked. Oh, wow, that video popped off. Oh, wow, yeah, a few people just messaged me, and I just started this business, and now it's blowing up. Like, it'll be so effortless because it'll feel so natural because God is working through you. So then the bridge of incidences will make your new reality, right? And so now you're going to have your new reality. So now you're going to have the $100,000 a month, right? So you make $100K and you're like, okay, yeah, cool, right? That's honestly how it's going to be. You're going to get the money and you're like, yeah, this is sick. And then after a little bit, you'll be like, okay, it's just numbers. So how do you maintain this life? That's where a lot of people go wrong, right? You'll decide on what you want. You'll tell it to God. God will give it to you. And then they lose it, right? Why do you think some people get rich, fall off, never come back, right? Because maintaining it is a whole nother level. That is through gratitude, right? So the problem is people will do this. They even most of the time unconsciously, like they won't even know they're doing it, but God gives them exactly what they asked for, and then they don't appreciate it. They're not thankful for it, and they give God zero credit. They give themselves credit, and then God I don't want to say takes it away from them, but it's not who they are, so you can't keep it. Like I said, you get what you are. So if you are doing these spiritual practices, right, you're going in and you're visualizing this life you want, you're giving these ideas to God, you have to also become the person that can maintain that, right? So if you're making $100K a month, you're going to have to be really good with finances, right? You're going to have your accountant on deck. Like, you have to have everything ready. You have to be prepared. You have to be able to handle it, or else it's all going to get taken from you. So that's why it's so, a lot of people say it's so easy to get what you want, but it's hard to keep it. Because of this, like, God gives you everything you ask for, but keeping it is another story, and you keep it through gratitude. Gratitude keeps you on the frequency of God, right? So God, and think about it, if you are constantly being grateful for everything, you are constantly looking for the good, you are constantly showing appreciation, who do you think is receiving those feelings of gratitude, right? Like energy attracts like energy. You're sending out this energy of gratitude. Who do you think is responding to that? God, right? What is God giving you? More blessings. So gratitude is key. So that's the process, right? So now you have that new reality, and then now you're going to go back to the drawing board, and you're going to make another decision. Okay, because that's what we are. We are here for growth. You don't want to stay the same, and you don't want to go backwards. So you have to be growing. So once you hit the 100K month, maybe you hit it for a few months, like, okay, yeah, I made 600K the last 6 months, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go to the next level. And then that's when you go back to the drawing board. You make a new decision, and then you communicate it to God. God gives you what you asked for, and then you show gratitude for it, and you maintain that life. You build the habits of that person. So what habits would my 100K a month self have, right? He'd probably be spending a lot of time in meditation and prayer, talking to God, right? Getting answers from God. He would probably not be scrolling on social media, rotting his brain, right? He would probably be very smart with his finances. He'd probably have an accountant. He would probably have an investment account. He'd probably be investing his surplus of money. He would probably be preparing for tax season, right? All these different things. Because, like I said, I don't want to say it's easy to get, but really it is easy to get. If you're doing it right, it's easy to get. So you'll get what you want, but keeping it is another story. So that's the triangle, right? Like I called it, the triangle of transmutation. And I hope this catches on because I just came up with this right now. So, well, I think I did. I don't know. I've never heard of it. I didn't look it up. But triangle of transmutation, right? So it's you make a decision, you give God, you tell God what you want through your thoughts, feelings, actions, and habits, through your prayers, through your visualizations, your meditations, right? Through who you are. And then God then gives you the how, right? Which is the bridge of incidences. And then you get your new reality, right? And then you have the new reality. You maintain that new reality through gratitude. So you can make sure that you are the person that has that, right? Someone who's on that level, on that frequency at all times, right? Your thoughts, feelings, actions, and habits have to continue to match that version of yourself or you'll lose the money. And then you go back to the drawing board and you, well, I'll keep this part out because now it's on a triangle. But then you go back, that's just like a little bonus. The gratitude's a bonus. But then you go back to the drawing board, you make a new decision. Okay, now I want to help 1,000 people make $1 million, right? So then you go back to there, you tell God, okay, I want to help 1,000 people make $1 million. He gives you the how, and then, right? It doesn't have to be just about getting money. It could be about providing service, getting more clientele or, living in that dream house. It doesn't matter what it is, you can get it. You can have anything you want. So your job, but also I must say, you can have anything you want as long as it is in harmony with God's laws, right? So if you are wanting something that is going to hurt other people, you're not going to get it. And if you do get it, you're not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to be happy. So you have to realize that what you want has to be in harmony, right? If you want to make 100K a month, that 100K a month has to come from and benefit all people in the transaction. If you're making 100K a month by scamming people, you're not going to live a life of fulfillment. You're not going to be living in the creative process and living by God's laws. So there's a lot to it, but I just wanted to break this down of what exactly the triangle of transmutation is and how you can begin to incorporate that in your life. So moral of the story is stop trying to figure out the how and start figuring out on what it is you want. Then you then take that image of exactly what you want, right? It has to be so detailed. Know the color, the make, the model, the year, right? Know how much money per day. Where's the money going to come from? Online business, in-person business, service-based business, merchandise business. Know exactly what you want. Create a mental image, right? So like me, I go in my visualizations, right? I see my Webull portfolio, right? Because I trade. I see my Webull portfolio. It's growing. I go on my Stripe account. I see my dashboard. I see a bunch of payments coming in, right? A bunch of people joining my group, getting my mentorship. And then I hop over to Discord and I see a ton of members in my group, right? So I live that life. I see it. I see it spiritually. And I'm showing God, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And then God's saying, okay, do this, do this, do this. And then you do it and you get it. Pretty simple. You can have anything you want. So don't settle for less. That's like actually, I don't like to throw around the word sin, but I do believe it is a sin to remain poor. Like I know there's going to be hard times in your life, but everyone has the right of abundance. And if you aren't abundant, it is because you are not in harmony with God's laws. And if you're not in harmony with God's laws, then, I don't really feel much for you. So anyways, my job is to help you, right? My job is, if you aren't happy with your results, I can help you get the results you want, right? You could change your life. You could live any life. I'm here to provide you with the information. I'm here to inspire you. I'm here to show you, pound that belief into you, the belief in yourself, because that's what it is. It's all within you. It's nowhere else. It is within you. Riches are made in the mind, not physically, not out here in the physical world. It's made in the mind, right? Wealth is made from ideas. Where do ideas come from? Exactly. So you have to understand that it's all spiritual. Everything's spiritual. We are spiritual beings living in the physical body. You have a perfect spirit within you, and that spirit is trying to express itself. That's why you want more. That's why you want to do more. That's why you want to be more. That's why you want to do everything differently than you do it and do it better. Because you have spiritual perfection within you trying to express itself through you, right? God is trying to live through us because we are spiritual beings having human experiences. So I hope this helps, and let me know if you have any questions, and make sure to subscribe and like this video. Let me know if you have any video recommendations, and if you're interested in working with me one-on-one or you want to join my group or anything of that sort, message me on Instagram at Nate Hogue with 2 E's, NateEehogg, right? Nate Hogue. It should be in the description below, and let me know and we can get it set up. So that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you liked what I came up with. I literally just had this idea, triangle of transmutation, and I hope that helps. I hope it helps you guys understand the process, kind of like the creative process in a way. And I hope you guys are able to apply this to your life and get some results. So without further ado, that's all for this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a great week.